Hi, my name is Phil Poirier with Bonny Doon Engineering.
And my name is Brooke Barlow, also with Bonny Doon Engineering. Today we're going to be unpacking and assembling a Mark III electric press.
So let's start by cutting all the boxes open. You've got a box cutter there.
Ready to go. So we've got 4, because I can count, 4 different boxes. The first being the frame.
Now with this, you want to get help. This is a heavy frame. So get a buddy or a friend to come over and give you a hand, lifting it up out of the box and onto your bench. So the two of us will grab this and tilt it up. Okay, I'm going to lift this and you can move the box out of the way. Next, we'll take all the plastic off. Go ahead with your box cutter.
Careful not to cut into the powder coating.
And we'll take it off the plywood there. Okay, let's continue with cutting the other boxes open. All right, let's take apart first the pump. The electric pump is in this larger box.
Let me hand this to you.
And we'll take apart the ram box here, which has got a little piece of plywood with the flange. We're going to set this aside and remove this flange in a little bit. In the box with the ram are the instructions, a little bag loaded with the instructions, parts, and tools, along with the gauge and the ram.
In this box, we have the riser block. I'm going to cut open both ends to make it easier to get out of this box. It's a pretty tight fit, so both ends are open. It'll just slide out onto the table.
What comes with the press is the riser block, the ram, the frame. We have the electric pump over here. Here we see the flange, 2 small machine screws for the flange, our main tooling bolt, plumbing fitting for the electric press, a 3/16 L key, a 1/4 inch L key, and a 1/4 inch T-handle hex key, along with our gauge. What else do you have there?
We've got the pump that comes with the hose. So to assemble, you'll have to bring a few things with you, which is a large flathead screwdriver, a Phillips screwdriver, an adjustable wrench, or a 9/16 open-end wrench, your box cutter, and a few rags for cleanup.
All right, so the next thing we're going to do is assemble the press. First, let's assemble the electric pump. Brooke?
All right, this is the electric pump. It comes full with hydraulic fluid. And the first thing you want to do is start by removing these 2 plugs. So what I'm going to do is turn it up on its end.
Now, why are you turning it up on the end? Is that easier for you?
It makes it easier to install the gauge and the hose. So I'm going to start with this.
I'll hold this.
Elbow up here. Remove this plug. And I'm going to set it aside. fill the
There's
gauge. So to start, I just want to thread the gauge into the elbow by hand. And then, once it's kind of tight, I'll take the wrench and tighten it down. Here we go.
I noticed it already has Teflon tape on it.
It does. All of the plumbing and threads come with Teflon tape. So now I'm ready to take the other plug off. This is where the hose is going to go. Again, set this plug aside. And now we're ready for the hose. So the hose has two ends. There's a swivel end, and a threaded end. So I want to take the threaded end and thread it into here. Phil, will you hold this?
Yeah.
Cool. And again, start by tightening the threads by hand, and then use your wrench to tighten it down. Let's do that. So I'm going to bring this down and finish tightening it. Okay, good.
Okay, so now we're going to assemble the parts on the ram. Again, I'm going to use the 1/4 inch L key. There's a plug at the very base of the ram. And notice I've got the ram on its side here. I also have a little handy rag just in case a little oil comes out of here. So I'm going to undo that plug. And I'll carefully mop up any oil that might come out there. I'm going to use this plumbing fitting. Note the Teflon tape. I'm going to thread that by hand into the ram. Once I'm sure that the threads are properly engaged, I'll put a wrench on it. I'm going to tighten this down. Now I have it on its side like this so we don't spill any hydraulic fluid out of this port. All right. Now, Brooke, if you'd hand me this hose here, I'm going to attach that hose.
Okay.
Note that this is the swivel end of the hose coming from the pump. There is no Teflon tape on this connection as it's a compression fitting. And again, with the same wrench, I'll give that just a snug, firm tightness there. At this point, we're ready to stand this up, and we're going to get the press ready.
So now that we have the hose connected to the pump and the ram, we're ready to remove the flange from the piece of plywood. Take the screws out and set them aside. Now I'm ready to put the flange on top of the ram.
Now, I'm going to flip this on its side so that you can see there are two threaded holes on the bottom of the platen. They'll accept 2 machine screws that will be threaded through the flange on the top of the ram. This is going to help align the ram to the center line of the frame. Now I've got to lift this up just a bit, and I'm going to do so by using a large flathead screwdriver. I'm going to insert the flathead screwdriver into the hole in the side of the frame and underneath the bolt that is there. This allows me to pry up, and notice how the platen there comes up. All right, so here we go, Brooke.
I'm ready.
I'm going to go ahead and pry up. If you'll put that ram through.
Here we go. And now I'm attempting to align the holes of the flange with the holes underneath the platen. So we're good there.
Okay, and now I can release the pressure here, and we're ready to thread in the 2 screws. We're going to thread these through the flange holes up into the platen. just like that. And I'll do that on both sides. A few little tips and tricks. What I like to do is tape up a little ruler on the side of the column right here. So here we have a 6-inch ruler. I'm going to flip it over upside down and put some double-sided tape on it. Now, I'm going to orient it so the 0 of the ruler is flush with the top side of this platen. And I'm going to tape it right there. Oops. There we go. And again, the bottom of the ruler, where it's 0 inches, is flush with the top of this surface. If you hand me that pen, I like to put a little mark right at the 5-inch mark here, right there. Why I'm doing that is I don't want to raise the platen higher than that. In an electric press, it's imperative and well covered in the manual not to run the platen up more than 5 inches. So again, let's keep the platen within the 0 to 5-inch range. And finally, we're going to take the 1/4-inch hex key, insert it into this receptacle down at the base of the ram, and tighten the little pressure release valve here. This pressure release valve should stay tight at all times. Check it once a month for tightness. So again, keep that tight at all times. And this is strictly for the electric presses. All of the electric presses are designed to have this valve tight at all times. And I think that's about it. Brooke?
Sounds good. If you have any questions, please contact us.